Hi, in today's video I'm going to share with you my top 3 lenses for my Nikon D800, and these are lenses you can use for any other full frame or APS-C camera, and I'm going to explain to you why I choose to use these lenses and also what I use them for. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Michael Delay. Thank you for coming around, and if this is your first time of coming or you're yet to subscribe, I would advise that you please subscribe because I upload content that actually educates, inform you, and it's really important that you subscribe to get to know more about it. Nikon D800 is obviously one of Nikon's greatest DSLR. The camera is solid and performs well even in bad lighting situation, and however, I personally believe that having a powerful camera with kit lenses or low quality lenses is just not the right thing. It's better for you to have low, hold camera and quality lenses, which is going to produce better results. So it's really important that you consider investing in lenses, and I would advise you consider some of the lenses I use as well. So today I'm going to be sharing my top 3 lenses for my Nikon D800 and why I choose to use these lenses most of the time. My most used lens is the Tamron XP24-70 f2.8. The lens is solid for almost all kinds of events and has the widely used range, which is the 24 to 70 mm, and the lens serves well in event coverage. I've used this several times. It serves well in real estate photography, studio portraits, and product photography. If I have just one lens to carry with me with my Nikon D800, it's mostly going to be the 24 to 70 Tamron, and this lens has image stabilization and the autofocus is very silent and smooth, which is really a good thing. The lens produces sharper results when you stop down your aperture from f2.8 to f4, and unless it's really necessary, I hardly shoot at f2.8. I do more around the f5.6 or even lower aperture sometimes. I'm going to do a full review of this lens sometime soon, and I'll review the performance and how I use this same lens on my Sony camera and Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro for video production majorly. Some of the things I had to deal with using Tamron 24 to 70 f2.8 is that the autofocus performance is not very good in low light situation. But really, if you have a speed light or you use a flash trigger, the autofocus assistance system can actually help in that kind of situation, but it's not really the best lens to use in low light situation when you're just trying to capture good images in the low light. One good thing about the combination of both the Nikon D800 and Tamron 24 to 70 is the confidence I have that 95% of the pictures I take will be in focus and sharp, and when I take a very underexposed or overexposed pictures, I can always get them fixed in post-production because of the dynamic range of the camera and the quality of the lens. My second choice of lens is the Nikon 85mm f1.8. The lens is a lightweight, good built lens with no image stabilization. To be honest, this is my fastest and sharpest lens and a great performing lens. I use the 85mm f1.8 majorly for portrait and product photography. The low light performance is better, but one clear thing you will notice is the high vignette. It's really bad. At the largest opening of the lens, the vignette becomes really obvious and a lot better when you stop down to f4 or more. So you need to consider all of these factors. This doesn't really mean that the lens is bad or you shouldn't consider buying this lens because of the vignette case, because most of the cases you can fix this issue in post-production. But for somebody who is considering using the lens for photography and video, I would actually suggest that you actually check this lens out because the vignette is still obvious in video production, and for me it's just not the very best thing. So I would prefer the Tamron because you hardly see any vignette in Tamron to, the Nikon 85mm. So these are just things you just have to consider yourself as a photographer, or depending on what you want to use the lens for and what is an acceptable vignette for you. So that's for you to decide. My third choice of lens is the Sigma 70-200 f2.8. I use this lens to compress foreground and background most times, and I also use it in events when I need to capture a distant image without moving close to them. And you have that long range, which is really, really important. And because even at 200 your aperture can still be at 2.8, so it really helps in low light situation. And as a result of that, I really use this lens a lot in events. It's actually a very sharp lens, strongly built, and a good choice for anyone looking for more creative option. The lens produces the best shallow depth of field among other of my lenses because of the range 200, and really nice. So it performs well in low light, but you need to be sure that your camera is compatible with the version I use. So my advice for photographers looking for the next affordable set of glasses for their camera is that I suggest you seek to understand the kind of photography jobs you do. If you do more of events, your first lens should be the 24-70mm because of the range. Then you can consider the 70-200, because of the range as well. And if you're looking for some very good lens for sharp portrait, then you can consider getting a prime lens. If you are a full frame shooter, you should be good with 85mm because 50mm on APS-C camera is the same as 85mm on a full frame camera. So for portrait photographer, consider investing in some nice prime lenses. I will advise the range from 35mm, 50mm, 85mm, then 105mm for macro photography. 135mm is another good prime lens, and probably a zoom telephoto lens, which is really nice. Real estate photography requires some wide angle lenses, so depending on the style of photography or real estate photography you want to do, that you have to decide on that and do more research on that. I hardly do real estate photography at the moment, but I've done it in the past, and I know I use 10-20mm, 16mm, and some other wide angle lenses then. So if you shoot with an APS-C camera, you may need to consider 17-40mm in place of 24-70 because of the sensor size. The reason for this is that with a 17-40mm, it's almost the same range on APS-C compared to that of the full frame. So I think you need to know that. So if you're an APS-C shooter like you shoot with Nikon D7000, D7100, then I think you should need to consider buying the 17-40mm and not the 24-70mm. But if you do full frame, whether it's Nikon, Canon, Sony, then the 24-70mm is still a good choice for you. So what's more important to me is that you master your skill set, because cameras don't take pictures, humans do, and what makes the difference is the level of your skill set. So it's really important for you to invest a lot of time, a lot of resources in developing your skill set. You need to find out what you need to learn. If you are a photographer, for example, you need to learn more about lighting. Lighting is really the most important aspect of photography. You need to learn how to use your light creatively, and you also need to learn more about composition. You need to understand the principles that guide excellent composition. You need to know how to the poses, when people poses on your set and all of that. Poses is really, really important. I had to go into investing in some books. I have a lot of books that I read. It's not just about investing in equipment, it's also about investing in yourself. So as much as you are trying to grow your equipment, it's also important that you consider growing your skill set as well, so that you can actually give that nice balancing, which is really essential for creative photography. If you are a wedding photography, for example, posing is really important. You need to know how to use your speed light a lot, because you are going to be using most of your speed light in most of the cases. You need to know how to tell story with pictures, you know, how to create a story from the event. It's not just about taking pictures and all of that, it's about telling unique story, and that's what's going to make your work stand out. If you're a portrait photographer and you do more of studio photography, you need to learn the art of studio lighting, and also, you know, there are some camera settings that you need to get used to. So it's more of you having the right equipment and also you having the right skill set, because if you don't have the right skill sets, your equipment is not going to produce excellent results. I've seen a lot of photographers with, you know, these expensive gears and all of that, but not, you know, creative images. So really just try as much as possible to invest in both and see how this can actually help you. So if you have any question or you have a contribution, please feel free to put it in the comment section. I'm going to reply as soon as I can. And I would like to know what your favorite go-to lenses are for your Nikon D800. So thank you so much for coming around today, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now.